Is OCD making your family the enemy? We're going to talk all about it. Stay tuned. That's what's up next. Hi, my name is Natasha Daniels. I'm a therapist, make videos for people with anxiety or OCD. And today I'm going to talk to you about how OCD very easily can make your family the enemy. But before I get started, don't forget to subscribe, hit the bell so you get notified because I do make new videos every Thursday. Okay, so what is this about OCD turning you against your family? Unfortunately, it is incredibly common because OCD wants what OCD wants, and it demands to be heard, it demands to be followed. And more often than not, it involves family members. And so it may be that you want your family to follow OCD's rules, or it may be that OCD wants your family to respond the way that OCD wants to respond or answer OCD's questions. You might have reassurance questions that OCD is wanting you to ask. And if your family is not doing what OCD wants, or they're triggering OCD thoughts, or they're not abiding by OCD's rules, OCD goes to plan B, and that is enemy number one is your family. And we, me and OCD, are going to be so angry at our family, when in reality, our family is often learning about OCD along with you, learning that giving into OCD and listening to OCD's demands nonstop is actually growing OCD and growing this thing that's hijacking the family even bigger and hijacking your life in particular. And so as people learn and develop, they learn to pull back and not listen to OCD in a loving, compassionate way, in a systematic sort of way. But it's very easy to feel like your family is not listening to you when they're not listening to OCD. The other thing that can happen for some of you with different OCD themes is that OCD actually targets particular people. And I see this time and time again. I saw this in my practice and I see it in my online communities now, that OCD will say, that person is a trigger. Sometimes it'll even say that person is a contaminant. They are contamination. So when they talk or speak or touch things or do things, they are contaminating things. And so you might have a person in your family who triggers one of your issues. They might trigger disgust, or they might trigger feelings of germs or grossness or whatever your theme is, because it will be different for each one of you. And you might have a lot of anger thrown towards that family member who is your OCD trigger. But sadly, underneath, you might still have a great relationship with them, or you might still have warm feelings for them, but they're just a walking, talking trigger for you. The hard part is that the person on the other side who's receiving this, the person on the receiving end of your overwhelm when you're triggered by them, can often take it personally. All they see is that you don't want them to talk, or you don't want them to touch things, or they can't be near you, or you can't hug them. That's all they see, is how you don't want to be near them or you don't like them. And maybe you even say those things because OCD is taking the reins. And it can really impact your relationship. It can really hurt the bond and trust that you have with that other family member because they feel abandoned. They feel betrayed. And so one thing that you can do to not allow OCD to ruin your relationships is to openly communicate that you're struggling with OCD. So you might say, I love you and I'm so sorry that I can't hug you. I'm working on it, but it's so hard for me because OCD is feeding me all these lies. And then how can you connect with them or show them your love in a different way as you work on it, right? Because avoiding doing what OCD wants you to do, like not touching or hugging or whatever, long term, it's going to get worse and worse and worse until it's really bad, until it's out of control. And maybe it is already out of control. But you can't change overnight because OCD doesn't work that way. It takes time to build up and pace yourself to take some small steps and get empowered to take bigger steps. And so you might be in the middle of doing that. And while you're working on it, how can you show your love and support in another way? Can you text them and say, I love you, I'm sorry I can't hug you? Can you do things that are entertaining that maybe are virtual? Play a game online or watch a TV show online or do something that you can still do with them without being triggered. And then slowly do some exposures where you are learning how to tolerate the discomfort that those triggers do bring to you. Ultimately, the people that surround you in your family, more often than not, love you and want the best for you. And it's OCD that gets in the way. So if you had a good relationship before, because I know we're all different, right? We have different relationships with our family members. But if you had a good relationship before OCD got in the mix, and you want to get back to that, or you miss that, it's not your family who is the enemy. It's OCD. And when you can separate that out and say, OCD is doing this, OCD is making it so I can't feel close to my mom, or OCD is doing this so I can't feel close to my siblings, OCD is doing this, I can't feel close to my partner, whoever it may be. Ask yourself, do I want to give OCD that much power to disrupt my relationships? Or do I want to convey to my family members, I love you and thank you for caring about me? When you don't do this, what OCD wants, it does really anger me because I feel so overwhelmed. But I love that you're caring about me, right? Try to bridge that gap. Try to keep that relationship going. Be honest and be raw with the people that love you. Because honestly, they're the ones that have your back, not OCD. They're the ones that are going to stick around long term, and so will OCD. If you keep OCD around and you don't want that dynamic going on forever. So I hope that this kind of resonates with you. I hope that it sparks a little bit of thought about kind of revisiting your relationships with your family members and how OCD is getting in the mix of that. Hope you find the sparkle in everything you do, and I'll be back next Thursday with a new topic. Take care.